For generations, one humble dish of beans and rice promised not just dinner on the table, but hope for tomorrow. Hoppin' John has roots stretching back to West Africa, carried across the ocean through enslaved people who kept their food traditions alive under unimaginable conditions. By the 1960s, this simple meal of black eyed peas, rice, and a little smoked pork or fatback was still a fixture in African American households, especially on New Year's Day. Folklore claimed it brought luck, wealth, and prosperity in the coming year, a tradition that meant even more in the midst of segregation and struggle. Cheap and filling, Hoppin' John fed large families with just a few handfuls of rice and peas. It wasn't just nourishment, it was ritual, a dish that connected people to their ancestors and their African roots. Eating it was a declaration of cultural pride at a time when identity was under constant attack. It carried both the weight of tradition and the comfort of hope, served steaming hot alongside cornbread and collard greens. What makes Hoppin' John unforgettable is how it appeared on tables after nights of uncertainty, after marches, after boycotts, after long bus rides where food wasn't guaranteed. The black eyed peas symbolized coins, the rice represented abundance, and the greens stood for paper money. In homes where finances were tight and futures felt uncertain, a pot of Hoppin' John wasn't just dinner, it was a prayer for freedom, prosperity, and survival. Smooth transition. And while Hoppin' John offered a taste of tradition and hope, another dish brought people together in an entirely different way under the church tents and community gatherings of fried catfish suppers. If there was ever a sound that defined summer evenings in the South, it was the sizzle of catfish dropping into hot oil, signaling not just dinner, but community, historical background. Context: by the civil rights era, fried catfish had become a centerpiece of church fundraisers, neighborhood gatherings, and Sunday suppers. Rivers, lakes, and creeks provided the fish, while skilled hands cleaned, seasoned, and coated them in cornmeal before frying them crisp in cast iron skillets. These suppers weren't simply about food, they were social events where families laughed, children played, and pastors spoke about both faith and freedom. Why it mattered was popular fried catfish suppers often raised money to support local needs, from helping neighbors in crisis to quietly funding civil rights meetings and transportation. A plate of fried fish, coleslaw, and cornbread could be bought for a small donation, and that money went right back into the community. Beyond fundraising, these meals created safe spaces where people could gather without fear of segregationist backlash, sharing more than food. They shared solidarity. Emotional or shocking twist. What many don't realize is that some of these fish fries doubled as secret planning grounds for marches and protests. While children ran around with paper plates in hand, elders at the tables whispered about strategies for sit ins, voter drives, and boycotts. The golden brown catfish wasn't just comfort, it was fuel for a movement, quietly sustaining those who would soon step into danger for the sake of justice. Smooth transition. And while fried catfish brought people together in fellowship, another drink became legendary for its simplicity and joy, a bright red punch that earned the nickname Black Champagne. No, it wasn't champagne, but to many black families in the 1960s, a pitcher of red Kool Aid or sweet church punch was the drink of celebration, comfort, and belonging. Historical background. Context: during the civil rights era, soda fountains and restaurants often refused to serve African Americans, even for something as simple as a glass of cola. Families turned instead to Kool Aid, cheap, colorful, and easy to prepare. At church gatherings, homecomings, and backyard parties, the red variety, never just cherry or strawberry, always simply red, became the favorite. Large aluminum tubs or glass jugs filled with ice and sugar water quenched thirst during hot summer services, rallies, and family reunions. Why it mattered was popular red Kool Aid wasn't just about sweetness, it was about togetherness. It was inexpensive enough to serve dozens, bright enough to delight children, and refreshing enough to revive tired marchers after hours in the sun. Some churches made their own version of church punch, often mixing fruit juices, ginger ale, and sherbet for special occasions. It became known as black champagne because it brought the same spirit of celebration without the cost or exclusion of fine dining. Emotional or shocking twist. What many don't realize is that pitchers of Kool Aid often sat in kitchens that doubled as safe havens for activists. After long marches in sweltering heat, volunteers and children alike would line up for paper cups filled with sugary red punch.